Okay, we're going to troubleshoot some uh, points standings or some audits. Um, as we troubleshoot these, I'll kind of explain how that process will work. If you've posted your state standings and someone comes to registration during the weekend, and encourage people, post them early and encourage people that, make sure everything's correct or come see us. And that gives us time if we need to look into something for you, or, gives you a little bit of time too. As remember, the flash drive that was in your package with the state plates includes moto sheets for all of the state races in your state. So you actually can go in there and track down the score that the rider is saying they had, and make that correction. So in that case, I've printed a non-qualified riders and championship race excluded. We'll go through a couple different scenarios here. Couple scenarios you could have is, take for example here in the 9 experts, you've got a rider, let's just say Aiden here. They're saying we did 4 SCRs, but our score should be 62 points. So you'd obviously have to find out from them what places they got at each one, and then reflect those scores on the moto sheets that are in PDF version on that flash drive. Once you do that, and if you're not seeing it on the moto sheet, obviously, then that correction most likely can't be made. But if you see a difference in what his points reflect versus what is in this points database and printed here on your sheet versus what he should have had, you can go ahead and make that correction. I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. But one of the other corrections you could have is someone actually saying, no, we went to 4 state races. In the case of this non-qualified rider, Joshua, he's only got 3 state races, but it takes 4 to qualify here in Pennsylvania. So it could be a case where we're missing that race completely, or he's not on that moto sheet somehow. So, or it didn't get scored with him on it. In that case, again, figure out what the 4 races are that he says he went to, look for the moto sheets, figure out which one he's not counted in, and then you've got a scenario where you need to adjust his race value and adjust his score. So we'll do a couple of those. I won't use these kids for example. I'll just pull up our famous rider here, and we'll give Noah some credit. But really all you need to do is pull up the rider, go to edit. When you get in there on the edit button, go to their license tab. When you get on the license tab, you'll notice series qualifier adjustment. There's one for cruiser and one for class, so make sure you're editing the correct one. And then at that point, you're going to do, if it's, again, in the case of the one rider where he was just scored as 4th and not 3rd, he's going to need that extra point. So all you really need to do is give him the 1 point. And that literally will add 1 point to his, basically his score. In this case, you've got the series qualifier adjustment. So that's in the case that they literally were not scored for that race, but you found them on the moto sheet. So in that case, you need to adjust them 1 complete race, and then probably give them whatever place points they got for that race too. I mean, if they're an expert, it could be a substantial change in points, but you may need to give them the full points for that race and the race adjustment. That way he'll show up as a qualified rider and he'll have the correct points. You can edit one or the other, but remember that if he's missing the race completely out of his record, you're going to have to add the race. So series qualifier adjustment, think of that as adjusting the race count, and series points adjustment, making the adjustment to the actual point total. That's where you make those. Once you make them, save, and then rerun your points report, and you'll notice it will add those points to him. And in this case, he have to turn him into a Pennsylvania rider here, but He's also a Canadian resident, so probably have to go out, go back in. Keeps defaulting back. We might have to pick on a different rider. There we go. We actually need him to be a Pennsylvania resident. And if you do encounter that where someone is in the wrong state, you've also got to, check their attributed state. Come over here, look at their attributed state, and make sure that it's showing the correct state that they actually race in. But at that point, let me go in here. It's actually not going to allow us to put him in the points report because it's hard-coded in the points database that he's from Canada. So let me go in here and get a non-qualified rider. And we'll make that adjustment. And again, all these adjustments, if you can clearly, see the problem, feel free to give one of us a call. Let us know what you're seeing on those sheets. We'll confirm with you. You can make those adjustments, and then really just kind of move on with the points reporting feature because it'll go a lot smoother once you do that. But once you get in here, let's go in 05640497. So we'll edit this record. We're going to go ahead and give him 5 qualifiers and 100 points. Then when you go in and rerun that report, you'll see before he only had 1 state race. And now when this report is reran, well, he should be at the top of the list with that 100 points I gave him, but he's a 10-year-old, so we'll look at the 10-year-olds and see what it did to him, and I'll also show you kind of the marking that it makes for series points adjustments, so that you know and we know that there was a points adjustment there, so we need to go back and look at his complete record after the weekend and double check that everything was correct and everybody got what they should have for scoring purposes. But when you go there now to the 10 expert, you'll see the P and the Q. So he had a points adjustment and a qualifier adjustment. And of course, with that extra 100 points I gave him, he's now leading. You notice he has 6 SCRs now when he only had the 1 before. So that is how you make all of your adjustments as you go through these. You most likely won't have any. If you do, it should be a very simple point change. You should be able to find it fairly easily.